Hello, everybody. My name is Beck Silver from the Foundation for Young Magicians, and welcome to the first episode of the Magic Podcast. Now, today I got a chance to hop on a Skype call with Jeremy Griffith, or for those of you from Instagram, Lost_Angeles. I had you send some questions in. We asked him those, and then some of my own questions, and he had some great stuff to say. So thanks to Jeremy for being on, and I hope you enjoy this. Cy the Magic Guy asks, what was your thought process when creating the Republic deck?
There wasn't one. When I created the Republics, they were already pre-created, right? There was already a Republic number 2s by the time I showed up.
Right.
And if you watch the trailer for the last release, you know why that one's important to me. But then I tried to buy the rights to them off Brad Christian, and that conversation didn't end well. And yeah, it's funny because there was a lot of contention when I tried to create the Royal Reserves, right, which were the precursor to Republic number 3s.
Right.
And for a long time, like me and the boys at E weren't on great terms, right? Mm-hmm. And then, I'm not kidding you, I lost a game of ping pong to Brad Christian, and we've been besties ever since. That guy has treated my family like royalty. They've created decks for me without me having to kick in any money for them. Awesome. Literally, I just sign the back and they send me a massive amount to either give away or sell or whatever I feel like doing. And it's just they've been exceptionally kind. But in terms of the design work and everything, the only one that I really had a major effect on was the Royal Reserves. The last Republics, I got to pick a color like that.
Yeah.
So, as far as I'm concerned, they did all the hard work. So that's a combination of Mike Clark, who used to work there, who's actually Peter McKinnon's cousin.
Oh, okay.
He designed the original whole Republic series. And then on this last one, it was Oban Jones, who is the playing card designer and the general designer for Illusionist right now. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Awesome. So you've got a pretty successful, from all the people I talked to about Magic Stream, you've got a pretty successful video on there. I watched it, and all the magicians I talked to, they always say they love it. So can you tell me a bit of what it was like working with Illusionists on that?
Are we talking about Magic Stream?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, okay. So the first time that I got to do that project, it was because of like the cabal of people. So like Garen Clark, Lloyd Barnes, Chris Ramsey was working with them, Peter McKinnon, Daniel Madison. And so they all like were vying for me to get in with their team. Yeah. And I've never worked for Illusionist. I've worked with them a lot. Mm-hmm. And so they literally they came out to San Diego. We got to hang out with the Buck twins at their Art of Play warehouse. Right. Elliot Terrell was there and, giving me glasses of whiskey to try to keep me. And then they set up a whole performance area for me to just go after it, and it was amazing. Awesome. They gave me the chance to pick a few pieces and parts off my Instagram to teach, and then Pete was there telling everyone to shut up in the background. So he recorded everything, which is sort of a boon. My first major release was recorded by Peter McKinnon, and then the second time, I was literally just going to London to go hang out at the Vanishing Ink Magic Convention, the session, right? And honestly, that one was more me hanging with my friends, right? So there's, Dwayne, Lloyd, and Garrett, and I literally just spent the entire time hanging out with a bunch of Welsh guys, and we had Indian food, we talked family, and then we recorded a few really cool things, and that was sort of the story. Right. So, yeah, I would say, honestly, it was just, in every case, it was me getting to hang out with a bunch of people who I call friends.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
So your Instagram page and your Instagram magic, it's gotten a lot of traction. That's the way I first kind of saw you and heard of you. So can you kind of walk us through, like, when you're deciding what you want to perform or what you want to record, can you kind of walk us through what your thought process is there?
If I'm recording or performing something, it's for a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like someone sent me a deck, or they sent me a prop or something, or it's something that I want to help promote for someone that I'm not a professional. I do this for fun. This is actually like my office here. I do it for the love of the game. So, like for instance, when DMC, right, Drummond, created his deck, right, he sent me a whole bunch and he sponsored my jam with them. And so I wanted to say thank you. So I created a whole thing of demonstrating with his cards. But that became sort of a thing for me, is demonstrating fun stuff to do with playing cards. And then I got a whole bunch of requests. Like a bunch of people would send me decks. And eventually it got to the point where it was like I'd get companies, so like, hey, we're going to send you 3 decks. So if you can get that video done whenever you can, that'd be great. And I was like, well, no, that's not the point. Like, I got to know you, man.
Right,
like that, So I know I ticked off a few people who probably sent me cards and didn't get videos right away. So that's on me. Sorry if anyone's listening to that. But for me, the priority was the people who I know and love who are trying to like make it happen. Those people got videos.
Right.
And then the video construction is literally me just practicing, right? So it would be like me sitting down, just trying to see what cool stuff would happen if you sat down for a couple of hours with decks. And if something cool came along, I'd be like, okay, let me record that and see if it'll play. And if it does, then it gets added to the video. If it doesn't, all that gets thrown by the wayside. No one sees the failure. Like, you never see me drop cards unless it's on purpose.
Right. Let's see. We've got a question from slightly_abnormal on Instagram. He asks, what is the hardest move you know?
The hardest move that I know. It's probably ripping, because it's so delicate. Mm-hmm. Being able to use a normal deck like a stripper deck consistently is a really, really difficult thing to do. I would say, like, in terms of like the moves and everything, learning to use that well is probably the toughest thing I know, because it's super hard to explain. Like, if you've ever watched a download, I can't explain how lightly you need to hold the deck. The only way I can do that is if you're in front of me, I hold one and you hold the other, and I can go, nope, too light, too hard, softer, and then, it plays. But until then, I'm like, hey, hold the deck super soft. That's all I got. So anyway, but yeah, ripping, I'd say, is the toughest thing.
So what would you say, like, in your opinion, what are you most proud of in your Magic career?
The relationships that I've built.
Awesome.
Honestly, the fact that there's so many people in this industry that, I've got a lot of them I call friends, a very few select that I call family. Mm-hmm. But I've gotten to travel the world and meet people that I never would have even come close to. I've gotten to, become friends with people who were like mentors from afar. I read their books or I watched their videos, and I always wanted to meet them. And then when I met them, we hit it off and we became friends. So that, like, now when they have ideas, they call me, or if I have ideas, I can call them. Mm-hmm. Garrett Clark, the VP of Illusionist, is We're Thick as Thieves. Dwayne Lloyd, same thing. Chris Ramsey, that guy, like, nearly every break that I got when I first got going here, it can be tied to him. All those guys, Xavier for getting me on Lost Art, just anyone who gave me a shot, I'm nothing but grateful to them. But the majority of it, it's not the money. Like I said, I'm an amateur when it comes to this, which sucks, because like, people want me to help them sell things, and I suck at selling things. I'm great at doing stuff with those things you're selling, but if you need me to advertise, I suck at it. But for all those people who did that, a lot of them, we ended up becoming thick as thieves afterwards. So yeah, I'd say that.
Awesome. So what would you say your favorite deck to practice or perform with is?
Broadway Seconds. It's an old school aristocrat casino deck. And they're very, very difficult to come by. But it's an aristocrat casino deck that doesn't have a casino label, and it's not jumbo index or doesn't have tech art or anything like that.
Yeah.
And they're pretty rare. Usually you got to buy them off Jason England because that guy's hoarding them in his garage or something. But those are probably my favorite. Like that, if I'm taking those out, it's because I need to either feel better or I'm feeling like a champion. Like this. Oh, yeah.
So somebody who's kind of getting into Magic, whether it be in person or Instagram or getting gigs, what advice would you give them?
Take your time.
Awesome.
You know, I've been in this 30 years, and it didn't really hit for me until about 6 or 7 years ago. Mm-hmm. So that means 23 years I was flying under the radar. It was still a part of my world, but there was never any big success. And then Instagram became my platform. Mm-hmm. And I chased it. I worked my butt off, but there was also a lot of luck to that. You know, I happened to have practiced Magic for a really long time, and then I found an outlet that just loved the type of stuff that I was already practicing. So if you're just getting started, understand, like, it's going to be difficult to get good at. It's going to be even harder to get great at. And then once you're great, it's going to be very difficult to get recognized for that greatness because there's millions of magicians all over the world. You know, how many people jump on YouTube and they're like, oh, I'm going to start a channel and then I'm going to become a professional YouTuber, not realizing that the guys who are super successful at YouTube started 4 years ago.
Right.
You know, it may look like overnight success, but they were working their tails off and it was a full-time job. The same thing with Magic, right? If you want to become a successful magician, time, effort, energy, forethought, luck, all of that plays a part. So just take your time and don't get discouraged because you don't get discovered right away. You know, if that is your aim. Like if you just want to become good at Magic, bear down, practice, carry a deck with you everywhere you go. Like and any chance that you get, work on something. And it's okay to focus on a single thing, right? If you want to just become the best shuffler, then do that. You know, if you want to get known for palming, then do that. Spend a year learning how to palm and learning how to transfer and learning how to do equipments and stuff like that. But if that's your aim, which I think is a better aim, focus on one thing and become the best at it that you possibly can. Find everything that you can on it and then chase it for a while. And then when you get bored of that, pick a new thing. You know, and then you'll be the best shuffler and the best palmer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that.
So do you do gigs? This is something I wondered just personally. Do you do any gigs or performing, or is it all kind of online?
Only if I want to.
Right.
Only if it's something like if it's for a friend or if it's for like a group that I really like or support. You know, like every once in a while, there's a couple that owns a couple of restaurants out in Orange County. And we had this sort of standing arrangement. I wanted to get good again. And one of the best ways to do that is to perform live. So I would show up to their speakeasy with my wife. And we had this sort of standing arrangement, right? At the time, she was my girlfriend. And we had this standing arrangement. You take care of my girlfriend and I'll perform for your patrons, right? Mm-hmm. So all her drinks and food were on the house and I would perform. And that was just our thing. And I did that for like a solid year. And that sort of got you know, I got a workout from that. And then, so if they want me to perform, I'll perform for them in a heartbeat, mm-hmm. right? Robert and Ying Adamson, they are amazing. And they sort of really supported me in terms of the live performance. But anything else, it's only if I want to, and only if it's in the type of environment that I like to perform in.
Right.
No. But again, that comes with after 30 years deciding I don't want to be the guy who has to perform in order to make ends meet.
Right.
So yeah.
So this past summer I started doing my restaurant gigs, and one thing I noticed, at least at the restaurants I worked at, there was a bar attached, so I ended up dealing with drunk people, which often become hecklers. So do you have a favorite heckler story, or maybe a favorite like heckler effect or line to shut them down?
Honestly, the best advice that I could say about that is don't try to shut them down. Mm-hmm. Bring them to your side. Make them the magician, right? Because here's the thing is that if they're drunk, they either know that they're drunk and are just trying to like play it off like they're still smart, or they're brazenly overconfident because they're drunk, right? So you can either feed that or stop it, right? Feed that or squash it. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to make it non-confrontational, right? Be like, this guy, I'm not going to get anything past this guy, so this guy's going to do the magic, right? And now he's the hero, right? Now it's annoying, right? You don't want to have to put up with drunks or anything like that, but if you make, there's that movie King Arthur, right, by Guy Ritchie, and there's this line, right? Why have enemies when you can have friends, right? And so if you make them your friend, if you make them part of the magic, then there's nothing for them to try to figure out because they're the magician. If they try to figure it out or call you out, they're calling themselves out, and no one can deal with that, right? So I would say go from that line, go from that perspective instead of trying to shut them down. Make them part of it.
Awesome.
But as far as like a story, I once did a house party on Hollywood Hills, and I inadvertently dressed like the wait staff. And so a drunk kept coming up. He's like, "Hey, whenever you get done with this crap, can you get my drink filled?" And I'm such a nice guy. I actually did get his drink filled. So what are you gonna do? So anyway, but yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Let's see. So what would you say some of your future goals for your magic career, just in general, are?
Mentor. I've been given much. I feel like not much is required. So whatever that takes. If it means getting good enough that I can teach a subject, I want to do that. I want to release a few more decks. I want to release a deck with my wife. I think that would be really cool. I want to release a deck with King's Wild because he's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that I'd very much like to become known as like a verifiable badass at the card table as far as like cheating sleights. Yeah. Like I love fucking, but I'm no good at it. I love shuffle controls, but I'm no good at them.
Right.
I've got a couple that I'm okay at, and they play well on Instagram. But if you ask me to go super hardcore technical, I still suck. There's so many guys who could hand me my butt when it comes to that, and I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy who's known for being good, but if you ever sat down in front of him, you'd be like, oh, no, he's a normal dude. I want to be like one of those guys who like, wow, he's really good, and then you sit down with me and you're like, nope, he's not human, right? I want to be that guy. So.
Yeah, awesome. So just as a general question, who are some magicians that kind of inspired you or that you look up to?
There's a whole, oh man, this is going to be a long conversation if you ask me that. I would say the guy who flies under the radar is David Williamson. The guy who is just beautiful technically is Babel. The guy in terms of business acumen, in terms of the guy who's under the radar, but in terms of the business is just unflappable, is Garrett Clark, the VP of Illusionist. In terms of handling, no one beats Steve Forty. In terms of thought process and everything, I think everyone should have to read Darwin Ortiz and Ascanio. The guy who no one really knows about, but if you've ever sat down with him, you come out better, is Gabby from the Madrid School of Magic. But we could this could go for a while. Yeah. So why don't we start with that list and go for it.
Let's see. So I'm not sure if you use gimmicks much, but if you're going to use
Helder Gamaris. Anything Helder Gamaris does. There you go. Okay,
awesome.
Go ahead.
I'm not sure if you use gimmicks much, but if you're going to use a gimmick, what's kind of your go-to or something you really like to
Double backer or double facer.
Right.
Just because there's so many different things that you can do with it and intriguing ideas that you could chase, and they're not the type of gaff that does the work for you. They're the type of gaff that you've got to know what you're doing in order to use it well.
Right.
But yeah, I'd say double backer or double facer. Anything else, and I feel like it's doing the work for me.
Yeah, I've got two more for you. So here's an Instagram question from the Magic Kid 512. Do you have any tips on doing a good pushover double?
A good pushover double. Have the pinky break a long time before you're going to do it. So don't try to get the pinky break and then do it. go in the other direction, have the pinky break ready to go. Here, actually, let me grab a deck and I'll show you.
Awesome.
Moves deck by Ollie Mealy. Here we go. All right. So 2 things. One is either have that break ready and set to go, so that way when you go to do it, right, you can talk and gesture, and then when you go to actually do that pushover double, that's a double backer. That's not going to help anyone. Anyway, when you go to do that pushover double, it's already set and ready to go, right? So, or take your thumb and bring that down a bit, and it exposes 2 corners. So when you push, you're pushing over 2 right next to each other. So that way, when you go to do like a knockout double, it's already set.
Awesome. All right, just this last one, it's an easy one. So anyone who's watching this, where can they follow you and keep up to date with your work?
Oh, everything. So far, everything is on Instagram. I might at some point move to YouTube just because it's a more robust platform. But everything is on Instagram at Los Angeles, LOST_ANGELUS. Angelus it's the Latin word for angel. But yeah, that's pretty much everything is there, or it's on Illusionist, Magic Stream.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun. It's been awesome talking to you.
Dude, awesome talking to you. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks. Have a great day.